Welcome everybody. This is GrindExp number 14. Ooh, we're getting up there. So what's going on, Betta,
Can I
Jimmy?
introduce us?
Yeah, I said what's up. We're free flowing it this time.
Okay.
Because it's live, so we're just gonna free flow it. So what's up?
Sounds good to me. Let's see here. What's up with me? A lot of Hearthstone. That's pretty much it. Hearthstone, and I actually resubbed to WoW last month, so I've been playing some WoW. Trying to get back into the groove for Warlords of Draenor, you know?
Yeah, I see you as like a typical WoW player on my friends list. Go logging in and out 10 times in a row. I was like, oh, he's playing WoW. He's still playing WoW. Okay, that's good. That's good. And Jamie, of your epic tales and seasons.
Yeah, I'm at Paragon 213 now, and I got 5 out of the 6 characters up in the 70. 3 out of the 5 characters are Torment 3 viable. One of them is Torment 4/5 viable. So yeah, I'm trucking along.
How are you enjoying seasons?
They're great in the beginning, but now that it's just a item grind, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
We'll go into it more later.
Yeah.
So I'm not as depressed / whatever Quad called me last episode as I am today. So
in need of medication, I think is what was said last time or the time before that. It may have been the time before that.
Right. So
No. Well, that and before I go into mine, you were hit with like the lucky bat, like in the beginning of the seasons, like as far as RNG and items and vaults and like everything. So.
Yeah, but I think they fixed that though. Yeah, so
they fixed your. They fixed you. Oh, that's a bad way of putting it.
Well, no, like I haven't gotten a Goblin Vault since the patch or the hotfix or whatever they did for getting rid of that event.
The community,
I call it
the week-long community buff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I only got the one on. Okay, we'll kind of work into what I've been doing. For the community buff was double goblins, 100% a gold fine. It was a week long, going from a Tuesday to Tuesday, with that coalesce with the beginning of seasons. For those who don't know, a little background. I got my one and only vault on my non-season character. Meanwhile, I hear people getting like 3, 4, and then the season started. And I got the one to get the Boon of the Hoarder gem, which I was content with, but like I needed gold. So Jamie decided, and he can talk about this more. We have YouTube videos that we'll upload later. Decided like with the hotfixes, like he was gonna go grind out 30 Act 1 bounties, 30 Act 2 bounties on Torment 2. The 50/50 chance that it is now. We'll get that. It's a tiny little bit. But I decided, okay, I'm going to try and get 30 as well. I got 28 and I couldn't do it anymore. I know, too away. Leave me alone.
Boo!
Okay,
I did. Doesn't count. You gotta redo it.
I did take a video and I got like 13 legendaries out of it. So it was around the same percentage, I would think, as you were getting, Jamie. You got 17 out of your 30, if I remember correctly. But I was like searching all the areas. I would go Fields of Misery, go Weeping Hollow, and the Festering Woods, and just run around them real quick. And I managed to get 2 vaults within the first 15 goblins, but then nothing after that. Not even like goblins, like they just like vanished from me. So
watch out for Lightning Dread. Lightning's gonna be striking you pretty soon with them odds.
Yeah, really. So. That's pretty much what I do.
Diablo. Are we gonna start with Diablo?
Yeah, we always start with Diablo because that's what we usually play. So,
technically, this is a free flow random show now, so technically we can go out of order.
Is it?
Well, I'm also not done. I've also been enjoying seasons with my Demon Hunter, going for I guess you can call it Puritan pet build or non-sentry Demon Hunter, more like based around the pets. No, it's working quite well. I have the M4 which gives you all the pets with companion. I have the Cloak of the Direwolf, so I have
If you're
three
doing pets anyway,
wolves.
shouldn't you just use sentries? Like,
They're not pets.
yes, they are.
They're add-ons, and the reason why I'm testing this.
They count as pet damage,
The
though.
reason why I'm testing this, as we go from what I'm doing to actual Diablo 3 discussion, is everyone and their mother is calling for a nerf to the M6 build, which is the Sentries build, because it's a very strong build. I've expressed my opinion on people who are calling for nerfs, but I will let you guys talk about it first, and I'll share my opinion on the matter. So I'm not hugging all the time for like 10 minutes straight.
Jamie?
Yeah, my opinion is they don't need to get rid of it. They just need to give the pets a particular health bar, so that way they can die. And I think it should be like the Keswick, what's that one helmet? The Carnival, where your pets attack when you attack. So I think for that particular build, it should be your sentries don't do that special attack unless you do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that way the demon hunter doesn't just run around and laugh at the boss. You know what I'm saying? Getting auto killed. That might fix it up a little bit and make it a little better without completely breaking the build.
Yeah, they're kiting just a little bit, like, their kiting capabilities is just a little bit too powerful. The fact that they can just lay down some sentries and then just, like, go in the very far back, well, not, you know, the very corner of the screen and just kind of, like, use cloak over and over again if there's any threat is just a little bit broken. And especially if you start getting, like, my one of my good friends just got the, like, trifecta arcane immune amulet, and so Jailer, like, heals him, and, like, the beams of arcane damage, those just heal him now, so he's just, like, he's pretty much invincible at this point, and he's able to solo, like, ridiculously high torment levels and rift levels. So yeah, I think demon hunters are a little bit broken. I'm not entirely sure how to fix them, honestly. I do like your idea, Jamie, of making it so that you have to cast the spells, and when you cast it, your turrets cast it. I think that's a pretty nifty idea.
Well, it works for the little fetishes build, right? With that Carnival. I mean, when you attack, they all attack that target.
Yeah.
So why not do the same thing with the turrets? Because they got the code in the system ready to do it. But
Yeah.
Well,
and if you put the M6 aside, there is nothing in the Demon Hunter's arsenal that makes them endgame.
What if
Period.
turrets could be attacked?
well, here, no. See, you guys put down good suggestions. Let me be devil's advocate to what you guys suggested. I've said this before on the community table, and I try to refine it to make it clear every time. We have to ask ourselves, as not players, but as community people, why is Demon Hunter powerful? Is it because of Demon Hunter class, or is it because of M6? Obvious answer is M6. It's the way M6 operates. It's the way it works with... Because everyone says M6 is broken, but it's really M6 in combination with Bombardiers, Quiver, on top of custom engineering if you really want 5 sentries. You can actually almost kind of get rid of custom engineering if you wanted to and take on really any other passive, and that would probably be of more benefit. So that, leaping from that, okay, you give sentries a health bar. Depending on how the health scales, if it's good enough that they live long enough to do decent damage, then okay, you can kind of work with it, especially if they heal, question mark, when you pick up health globes and such. But there's a couple things you have to remember. Psychosycophants, you can't necessarily summon them when you want. You get the items to summon them automatically, correct? I mean,
The summon the turrets where you want?
No. If we're comparing to Witch Doctors, because that's what everyone kind of sort of does, even though it's not the best thing to do. Isn't there an item that just summons them like every however many X seconds?
no, that's the mojo, and it summons a zombie dog every like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay, that's the zombie dog. Okay, so
Right. The fetish one is you have to actually attack always to get the fetishes out.
okay, so you have to attack to get the sycophants out, fetishes, or whatever you call them. With Demon Hunters, you just place a sentry. If you don't take custom engineering, they last 30 seconds. Okay, it dies. you can get around that. You can place another one. If the health bar is too much, it's still kind of the same issue. If it scales off your character damage or is a flat percentage, depending on what tournament you're going into. How would you determine the HP to get it just right? It's a weird concept because you're not going for a character HP. You're going for a pet HP.
Well, here's the thing, right? They have to go away before the cooldown is up, because you can't have them up all the time, right? Per se.
Well, here's the thing. You say you can't have them up all the time, so what? You just want to force the player to cast them? That's what custom engineering was done for. It makes them last twice as long for that reason. That's why people pick them on top of the rocket damage. So you force people to take the rocket, but they get an extra one. But here's where you start running into weird issues. Okay, you nerf sentries in a sense that they have a health pool, and they die too quickly at the higher thing. So M6 dies the way the Dota were, just the way the Witch Doctor pet build kind of fails at higher pet levels. So then it drops down from M6 to M4, which is a massive pet build. Okay, so it goes to a pet build, which is what I'm doing right now. And then if you work in a Nats 4-piece, you get more discipline. You get 7% crit damage, crit hit chance, and you get the Rain of Vengeance deal that every time you kill an enemy, your Rain of Vengeance goes down by 2 seconds. So if you get your damage up high enough, and if you get a good cycle going in a Greater Rift or a regular Rift, your Rain of Vengeance is basically going to be like Zippo cooldown, and that's through a set with no cooldown reduction. So you can do resource reduction and be paying nothing as far as hatred. And it's like one of those things that it's a very hard set to break down, because it may actually make something else. It may elevate something else, like the M4 Nats 4-piece stronger. But what I always say in this debate on what we did on the Shattered Soulstone Community Roundtable and the interview with Nevik on the latest site, The Shield, shameless plugs, yes, was we have to stand back and, as we started this conversation, is it the Demon Hunter that's broken, or is it the gear? If it's the gear that's really strong and is really done well, why do we always call for nerfs to a class instead of asking for equivalent for our classes? Because just because it feels good for somebody else not to have the power they once have, doesn't mean you necessarily get that power. It just doesn't work that way.
Okay, so where in the history of Blizzard have they decided to say, okay, this class is overpowered, let's bring everybody up? When have they done that in the history of Blizzard?
They have done that more with Diablo 3 than I would say WoW. WoW has too many classes, too many specs that are hard locked to actually balance. That just happens. They can't do everyone at once, because then it becomes a weird reset and the raiding scene would break down overnight. They would have to refix it over a period of weeks. Diablo
I think they're trying to match the power levels with the sets, the new sets, with like the Wizard rework, and like the Demon Hunter rework. I think they're trying to get all the sets just about equivalent in damage, but obviously they went wrong somewhere.
Well, it's also the fact that the monk sets weren't really worth it. The wizard sets, I mean, Taraja is okay, like, ooh, meteors, but Meteor itself sucks as far as a spender. So,
dude, especially the Arcane Meteor, which sucks all your mana away. What the hell is that shit?
No, that one can be worked very well, but it needs more work. It needs more items, and the Crusader has had a lot of work. They got a new set this patch, and it's proving to be. I mean, Jamie, have you gotten the new set? Have you played around with it?
I've gotten pieces. I've seen videos. I mean, it's viable. But again, it revolves around like Akrax Champion and whatnot, and it's just Crusader Endgame is all about cooldown reduction and spamming spells, and like no resource generators, but just spamming spells and crap. That's all it is. Like the Condemned Akrats build, it's all reliant on spamming, getting Akrats champion up 100% of the time, or as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will wholeheartedly admit, as a Demon Hunter player, M6 is very strong. Is it stronger than other classes' sets? Yes. Does it need to be nerfed? I don't know. I mean, it's not coming that I don't want my power nerfed. It's just like I see okay, you give sentries HP bar. Okay, if they die too quickly, they're useless. So basically, you always go to M4, then you bring on Nats, and then you make a strong pet build. But does that solve the issue for the game on a whole? No, because of what they've said. They said that they're not trying to do too much futzing around with the classes themselves. They're trying to introduce items to elevate individual abilities and hopefully open up new specs, new builds possibilities as well. But when you do that, and when you do that too much with a particular class or multiple classes, first of all, it skews your results because not everyone gets those items, gets those items to drop. They're good items and has the opportunity to re-roll them well enough with other items using them at the same time. There's too much RNG in that alone, let alone if that person goes into Greater Rifts and tries to get high on the leaderboard, which is totally voluntary, and they're using Greater Rifts as a clear indicator, which I guess is fine because there's enough people doing Greater Rifts that I guess through mass filtration of statistics, it's good enough. But I still feel it's wrong to introduce too many items to balance the class that should be balanced at the base of the class itself, because then essentially you have items acting as crutches for a class while the class suffers without them.
They need to boost all signature / resource generator abilities. The monks, they're all garbage. The wizards, they're all garbage. The crusaders, they're all garbage. With depth diggers, I felt like they were normal on most classes. That's how they should be. They feel like powerful. I actually didn't want to go with a resource generator free build like everyone is doing. You know what I'm saying? Because look at endgame. They're all resource generator free builds. Why? Because the resource generator and signature spells are so garbage that no one can use them endgame. They need to fix that.
I think they're trying to with they added a legendary gem that buffs it, and they added the depth diggers. But
depth diggers, you don't get depth diggers on a wizard or the witch doctor.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Yeah, they need to apply to those classes for sure.
Yeah, and they did apply, and then it is kind of the wizard's fault, I guess. I mean, the witch doctor had strong abilities, but the wizard class at that time had very strong magic missile. It was really magic missile conflag builds with either any other decent spell at the time, because it would be magic missile conflag with a mirror ball, so you got 2 extra for free. Running, and then you run that through depth diggers, and you have simplicity strength. So let's just see how much more damage you're doing for Zippo. You're doing, okay, say a base of 100 damage. You get 2 extra missiles for free, so that's doing 300% damage because you have 100 plus 2 extra for free. And then depth diggers, if you get that at 100%, each of those missiles is really doing 200% damage. So you're rolling at 600% damage. And then if you have a simplicity strength maxed out, that's an extra 50. So that's what? 250 per missile, so you're at 750% damage of magic missile, and it's free.
Yeah. Okay, no.
If I did my
I got a counter argument to that, because if you look at the barbarian weapon throw with that lightning rune is 400%. I put depth diggers on, it's 800%, and then you add lightning damage to it, and that boosts the crap out of it, and you can get that freaking weapon throw over 1,000, maybe even close to 1,300% damage with that gem that gives you 25% damage. So bam, right there. The barbed weapon throw is greater than anything that the wizard can do with the depth diggers. Period.
Is it single target though?
It is single target, but you with attack speed, you can spam the crap out of them at a range. So there, 1,300%, you can do it at a range and you can spam them.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I remember them loosely saying I'm not quoting because I may be misquoting and I don't want to be seen as off quoting, but it seemed like they didn't do it because they didn't qualify the signature spells as generators, because they weren't generators inherently, even though with the wizard class, as I'm more fluent with, has prodigy, and you can turn your signature spells into generators of arcane power, or if you picked the particular rune that did generate arcane power, it would. So it wasn't inherently a generator. I think Depth Diggers and with Simplicity Strength kind of tilted the power balance of the base spells for the other 4 classes, and the Witch Doctor and the Wizard are kind of being left without that base strength enabled, because our dear friend Cyberwolf has a Wizard and he wants to do a lightning build, and the only real decent one is like using Electrocute, the new fire one, along with a Firebird set. And that would be amazing.
That is very lackluster, to say the least, because I used that myself.
But it would be decent to somewhat good if you could have the Depth Diggers and the Simplicity Strength and work it in with a few other choice gems. But it's just not there. I think they need to relook at that particular decision and see and redo their numbers, because I mean,
it's just a wording thing. All they need to do is say those abilities are base damage abilities. It's just a wording thing. They just need to come up with a way to say signature abilities and resource generators are all basic attacks or something. And then Depth Diggers can say all basic attacks get a percent gain, blah blah blah, and then there you go. Every class can get them now. Because there's no crap with this. Oh well, they don't generate nothing, so they don't get it. No, I don't believe in that. No.
and the thing that I have to test out, on my Demon Hunter right now, I have the bow that turns Elemental Arrow into a generator, and I do have a set of Depth Diggers. I have to see if it's that specific where it's hard locked to your primary skills, or if it's smart enough to determine, okay, wait, no, this is generating hatred. I will now function with that and increase its base damage. I have to test that out.
See, that's where the word changing would fix that. It says basic attacks, not attacks that you turn into basic attacks. Just regular, standard, default basic attacks.
I believe
that would fix everything.
I think Depth Diggers, they specifically say primary skills that generate resource, so it wouldn't.
I actually have some. Let me log into my character real quick.
Yeah,
it's primary skills that generate resource. Yeah. They did say primary skills that generate resource and signature spells do 80 to 100, but when they basically turned the signature spells off, they basically deleted the words. So, I mean, we've been talking at length. I mean, if we really
that'd be so crazy though if that did work. The Depth Diggers with the Elemental Arrow, it would just be like super insane.
It says primary skills that generate resource deal blank additional damage.
Mm-hmm.
And on my Crusader, it's amazing because the Crusader's basic attacks, if you want to call them, or resource generators or whatever, they're lackluster. They're crap. But with this Depth Diggers, I got mine at 93%. I got my Justice, which is Lightning Rune, which does 245% damage, multiply that by 2. Now it's normal. It feels normal. Like I can actually use it without, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It feels kind of on par with your other skills. You don't feel like you feel like you go between like nerfed and buff between skills.
When I'm doing T4 and T5, it feels like I can use that resource generator as a regular ability instead of having to cop it out with a non-resource generator and just do like a non-generator build like everyone else is doing, you know what I'm saying? Because they're doing cooldown builds. So, and that would give more build diversity if people can have powerful generators or basic attacks, if you want to call them that, for future reference or whatever.
Yeah, it would definitely be nice, I would say. But even though we've talked at length already in Diablo 3 about little experiences with the seasons, we should bring
a Diablo 3 podcast.
No.
Did you
we
want to
should
give a
bring up-
final word on the? Because we took a tangent from the Demon Hunter M6 problem.
No,
Did you
no,
want to give a final word on that? Or?
no. Basically, is the M6 really powerful? It is. Does it really need to be nerfed? I don't know how you nerf it correctly so it doesn't affect the people who have it, and it doesn't offset power of those people, where they have to go for another, where they have to go find a new thing to do, because people in this game are going to find the new hotness within a day or two, and they're just going to do that. So what's the point, really, from a development time standpoint? You're better off putting development time in lifting the other sets up to a particular point, or raise other classes' base abilities up, so you actually balance the classes, not just through items.
So
which is what I've been saying all along.
We should give everybody every class a set piece that allows them to be AFK and cheese their way through the content.
But here's the thing: you can't use outliner live streamers, outliner YouTubers, outline everybody.
That's how you bring it up on par with the M6 full M6 build, is because everyone just cheeses with that.
Yeah, but see, this kind of goes into a different territory. Is it the game that's broken, or is it the people playing it? I don't want to go into a whole it's the community's fault, but we have, as a community, we have to take a better look at this up instead of screaming nerf bat or buff me or this bat or whatever you want to say. If it's a live streamer, YouTuber, or someone who has enough time to play this game to get those items, they do it. Wasn't that the whole point? You put enough time in, you put in the effort. You get this build, and then you get to reap the rewards. If I put in my time, I got my M6 and played it, I get to reap the rewards of that. If someone else puts in their time with a Crusader, a Witch Doctor, a Wizard, a Barbarian, any other class that they may play, and they get their set items and their other abilities, they min-max it, and they can't do what I can do, I feel sad for them, not as a pity, but because they put in their time. They deserve to have as equal power with the diversity that their class gives them versus the diversity my class gives me to do exactly what I can do. Now, without nerfing myself in the process and elevating them up at the same time. That's the design philosophy that this team quote-unquote has, and they've been painstaking, agonizingly holding to it, even if it makes it a slow buff to certain classes at times. But that should be the design goal, that should be the philosophy, and more importantly, that's what we as a community should have. But it takes the ability to have critical thinking, and if not enough people have that, then it's just going to be nerf this, flavor of the month, class that, like whatever, and then it just like, okay, I'm just gonna do this build because that's just what I can do right now, that's the only thing I see. It basically boils down to like same thing in Hearthstone, like what's this streamer doing? Okay, 20,000 people have that same exact deck. It becomes really stagnant as far as builds and everything because everyone's just copying each other.
Okay, hold on.
So
I'm gonna chime in there. I'm gonna
say one thing before we leave Diablo, because we're transitioning already.
Right.
Let's make predictions on what the next cheese build / character is going to be after they nerf the Demon Hunters, because it's coming.
Hold on. Before that, I got two things, Dred.
Before that,
Blizzard likes easy fixes, and an easy fix, instead of buffing all the classes with like more unique effects or just like buffing their damage, like they're gonna go with the easy fix and just nerf the set. And B,
but they're not.
Yeah, they are, dude.
No, they specifically said they don't like nerfing people's power, and they said this when they were talking about seasonal items and whether items would be retroactive change, right, or where you have to find a new one.
They sometimes just have to do it, and they do like taking the easy route. Okay, it's less development time if they just go, hey, let's just nerf some stats and call it good.
That's just project management goodness. That's all it is. I mean,
okay,
I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying that's like how Blizzard.
I know. I'm just giving my little counter. You know,
well, let's all agree to disagree, digress, and then get on to our predictions on what the next cheese class / build is going to be. Dread.
Well, unless they fix Witch Doctor Pets, that's right there. What class? Crusaders have a lot of potential.
Hold on, but like, what are you referring to? Like, are you talking about like in groups or like solo, Jamie?
Solo.
Either or flavor of the month. Like, what's going to be the next big thing? Like the Demon Hunter M6 that everyone's going to rush to when M6 get nerfed.
It would have to be solo. Crusaders have a lot of potential, especially that one belt with Punish unlocking all runes. I don't know. It's like I don't really want to name a class because I don't want to seem like I'm putting a target. I mean, I'd rather it not for the sake. But I don't know. Like, what other classes? I don't know of any other classes that are getting up there. Firebirds stops at a certain point. Witch Doctor's pets die at a certain point. Barbarians are you need extremely good gear as usual with a barbarian or a typical melee class. Monks are kind of in the same point. In fact, monks got a whole bunch of buffs, so I don't know if monks are at their full potential yet as far as builds and discovering new things. So maybe monks. Crusaders have a lot of opportunity to get up there. So maybe a Crusader or a monk, I would think.
Let's say, because right now with the monks we have the dash and strike build. That's how you just dash around doing your attack with your lightning stuff. Then you have the bard with the Furious Charge build. You just Furious Charge around. Then you have the Crusaders with the Condemned build. And then they have Stampede, which you could do like unlimited or whatever. And then they have Shotgun, which is basically... I forgot the skill, but it's a cooldown skill. And plus you're spamming Aggro Champion, you can spam this thing. So it's like you're shooting like a shotgun. So there's going to be those three. And then the Wizard, you got the Firebird set, and then it's Blizzard Hydra. Or... What else does Wizard have? Arcane, but I don't see anybody in the higher tiers in Hardcore and Arcane. Everyone's using Blizzard Hydra endgame with the Firebird set. So I want to say it's either going to be Blizzard Hydra, Dashing Strike, or potentially the Shotgun Crusader that is going to be the next big one. Because those are easy to do builds.
Yeah, I have to think that everyone's going to start shifting towards like Meteor Wizard, honestly, with Firebirds, with a Cinder Cloak chest, and then just spamming the 7-drop Meteor spell. I think that's actually going to be really powerful, and probably going to be the next really high damage build. But it's hard to say. With that kind of build, you need special runes and stuff to make it so that your arcane generates fast enough. So it's kind of hard to say, but you know, I love the wizard class, so I'm gonna just go with my gut and say wizard's gonna be OP.
The wizard shall rise again.
The wizards are always OP. You know what? And then they nerf them to the ground, and then everyone cries because everybody loves wizards.
So with that, I will just do news items because wow, we talked for about a good 20 minutes on this so far.
Hold on, you mentioned one thing about how in Diablo, you know, it's similar to Hearthstone because, you know, in Hearthstone, people just look at some streamer and they copy his deck and then play it. But the thing is with Hearthstone is that if you just copy one person's deck, you can find counters to that deck. So that's like how the meta system works. Like it auto fixes itself, right? If one streamer is playing Hunter all the time, then more people are going to start playing Sledge Belcher over some big taunt creature because Sledge Belcher takes 3 hounds to kill versus the Sledge Belcher takes 3. Some big taunt minion just takes 1 dog to kill with Hunter's Mark. So, I mean, it auto fixes itself, but in the case of Diablo, it doesn't fix itself because you're only fighting computers.
It's not necessarily... You went too far with what I was going for. If I can clarify, it's... Okay, say Trump makes a deck and it's really good and it's new and it's original to what he came up with. I can't say create because, as someone on Twitter pointed out, no one can own a deck. To say this is Trump's deck, no. It is a deck he created. Let's use our grammar correctly for once on the internet. That's the concept. So if I came up with a different build, I created a different build. That's where it stops. I mean, it's not like the computers never get a counter. The computers always have their set HP, their whatever. It's up to the developers to dictate at that point, is it strong enough? Is it too strong? What do we do? So in that sense, me copying a wizard build on any of my one wizards only takes items. Same way in Hearthstone. Same way, the only way, it only takes cards, and once you get the cards, you can build a deck. Whether it's still relevant at the time is a debate for that time. Same way Diablo 3 is that build's still relevant because something else may have come along that's better, and then you aim for those items. Same way in Hearthstone, you would aim for those different cards if a different deck came up. So it is similar. It's basically flavor of the month when you boil it down. So with that, there were hotfixes applied. We'll do little news items.
So what?
There were hotfixes applied to Diablo 3 very rapidly. And I'm going to try and figure out those things very quickly off the forums. Well, there were actually quite a bit of them. There was one actually just done today. The drop rate for the Orcs, Reagent, Vile, Putrid, basically the organs were adjusted from Torment 1 to Torment 6, and at Torment 6 there are 100% drop rate for the organ pieces, so that is a awesome first step. They need to do something similar with the keys because there are 3 layers of RNG. They only went after one of them, especially for Hellfire Amulets, which again have 3 layers of RNG to make them worthwhile to using. You need the correct passive, you need a socket, and you need good stats past that. So they still need to work on that a little bit. Experience and Nephilim Rifts was adjusted, so it wasn't somehow based off, like, if you started a Greater Rift on Torment 6, you actually get more experience than if you did it on normal for whatever reason. It was really weird. They fixed the issue with the Moratorium gem, the one that splits damage that comes in that you take over a certain amount of seconds. It was actually going through Second Life or cheat death passes, whatever you want to call them, and would actually kill you when you res the second time. They fixed that. I think everyone at this point knows that there's certain no kill bounties have been disabled. I think, and they say disabled, so I think that's I have to confirm this, but I think it means campaign as well as adventure mode. Well, non-season adventure mode and season adventure mode, I would imagine it applied to both. And then there was glorious ones as well. These are the real good ones. The drop rate for bounty-specific legendaries was drastically increased, starting at 50% chance at Torment 2 and getting up again to 100% guarantee at Torment 6. The cesspools will spawn less frequently in the cesspools will spawn with enemies in the immediate entry area less often, or less enemies. I kind of butchered that. Sorry. Let me just read one more time. Third time's a charm. The cesspools should less frequently spawn enemies immediately at the start of the level. Congratulations. I can read grammar. Yay. Drop rate for keys of trials has been significantly increased, and yes, it has been. And something that was worrying me was that it seemed like legendaries from Rift was not dropping as much, like regular item gear. And they did clarify that the key is not taking the place of that legendary that would normally drop, and they're in fact taking off the legendary beam that trolls you every time it drops in an upcoming patch.
I think they also said that they're also making it so it doesn't show up as a legendary anymore either.
Yeah, it'll probably, I don't know what color it would be, but I hope people just don't start missing it. But then again, you pick up all the items. So that's just a quick summation of a whole bunch of the latest hotfixes that happened and went on. So with that, at the grandiose...
Well, there were the exploit fixes.
Well, I mentioned that in there. Okay. So with that, at the 40-minute marker, let's move on. Okay, you guys pick either Hearthstone or WoW. Pick one.
I don't think either of us were prepared for either of them, so let's do WoW. So in WoW, they were stress testing their servers today for the first time. So if you had a beta key, they asked you to log on so they can at 3 p.m. Pacific, and so they can stress test their servers. And I guess it went well because the servers were good to go. And when they came back, and then they did a restart, and when they came back up, people have found that the barber can now actually do faces. So your barber can do plastic surgery now and change your face around. So when the model update hits live servers, if you don't like your new face, because they're going to be switched around and stuff. And so if you don't like your face, you can switch it to one of the other ones.
That's such a funny thing to say. Hey, you don't like your face? Here, go to the barber. That's
right?
like Edward Scissorhands. What's the Sweeney Todd? Yeah, there we go. Like kind of like thought comes to mind. Like clip your face, quick clip and a shave. I don't know. I was trying to make a weird musical. Failed. Laugh at me. Continue.
So 10-year anniversary celebration will begin on Friday, November 21st, and will last until January 6th, 2015 at 10 a.m. So it's actually going to last for quite a while. And
Damn.
So, it lasts until next year. And everyone who logs in during that time, just a reminder, you're going to get the pet. You're going to be able to experience Molten Core again, 40-man at max level. Actually, it's not going to be max level. It's going to be... it's going to be for level 100 players. Excuse me. It is going to be for max level. And but it is going to be raid finder, so it's only going to be raid finder. So you're not going to be able to do heroic versions of this raid. It's only going to be for raid finder. And on top of that, the Tarn Mill versus South Shore Battlegrounds, which I'm very excited about personally, because I just nostalgia, like more than Molten Core even. But so South Shore versus Tarn Mill is coming back to the game as a battleground. Temporary.
South Shore shall rise again. Okay, I'm just going to try to work that in anytime I can, where it seems appropriate.
So just the Warlords of Draenor is coming rapidly to a close. They're inviting more and more people in. Lots of testings going around. A lot of filling with the garrison. They actually added new items for the garrison. They added an NPC for Ben Brode, the main designer for Hearthstone. He's basically the person that invented Hearthstone and just was like pen and paper. So they added an NPC in the game for your garrison. That's Ben Brode, and he sells you items. He sells Hearthstone tables essentially that you can put in your garrison. So that's actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And as you know, it's always a good sign when you see this as far as like player, because the development is going well and they're almost getting ready to release the game, or at least call it gold, as far as they've done what they need to do now as far as the base 6.0 patch, and then they're just going to do the hot fixes for like the 6.01 or 2, whatever they're calling it, because the PTR will be coming up pretty shortly. I think this guy should be 6.02, if I saw it correctly, when it comes up, and can go on the PTR and start testing new abilities and such like that. So that's going to be very fun as well to do. Yeah.
Other than that, there's obviously class tuning on abilities. Tons and tons of abilities are getting reworked. If you don't know already, there's going to be a bunch of spells that are actually going to be removed. So you're going to have basically your rotation. I don't know if that's good or bad for the game, honestly. It's going to make the game is going to be more streamlined at that point. Pretty much what separates a good player from like a great player is just knowing the rotation and when to use it. So having less abilities means everybody's going to be doing more or less the same. It's basically going to be, the difference is going to be mashing your key buttons. But so that's going to be a thing. And using potions and stuff, min-maxing. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in WoW land.
Yeah. The thing that catches that I think of, and I think as we I think as we're over or at the 1 year mark of no new content in WoW in Miss Pandaria. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't both raid tiers going to be opened by the end of the year, like in their scheduling plan? I think the first one's going to be open late November, and then the second one's going to be opened up like late December or something like that. Like, they actually had like the raid schedule posted, like when things are going to be open and patched in and such.
Yeah, I believe they are actually removing some of the raid tiers. If I remember correctly.
Because I think what Tom Clinton said is that there may only be 2 raid tiers. They may add a third one depending on the content that is required to between the next expansion. And now that the anniversary content is going from basically release, more or less, to the January 1st, I'm going almost all the content for the expansion. Like, I would say a good 2/3 at minimum. It's going to be within the first 3 months. Well,
yeah.
And that's being generous as far as 3 months is concerned. It's more like the first 2 solid months as far as when it's come out, when it's fresh and new and everything. So, say that lasts like 6 to 8 months. Like, they'll probably do a 3rd tier, but then is it really going to be a mid, this is where kind of you start getting your brain wrapped around the thought that they may be trying to do, they finally may be holding themselves to a new expansion every year. Instead of trying to produce new content to keep our current expansion going, they're just going to come out with a new expansion every year. That's why it's fresh content. It's a new baddie to go after. You're not in this weird, prolonged, great story, but it's stagnant due to content coming out.
Yeah, and it is stagnant.
And your experience is halted because of the development process. And everyone knows if this expansion is getting ready to come out, they're already working on the next one. And at this rate, they may be working on the next 2, if there are 2.
Well, they already mentioned, they did a live stream, the WoW team did, and they publicly announced that they're already working on at least 2 more expansions, and they strongly suggested that they're not stopping from there. They're gonna keep going on. So WoW's going anywhere. Yeah, well, everyone who thinks about it, they're that typical South Seas expansion, which is like the other islands and the Tomb of Sargeras and Lady Ashuzara, and the person who started this mess, more or less. And then there's the Return of the Burning Legion Part 2, or Part 3, depending on how Warlords of Draenor ends, with Sargeras. But then there's also back.
I have a funny feeling that if we ever go against Sargeras, Bolvar
would that be hilarious?
Would actually come with the undead, but he would be like a total anti-hero badass and be like, "Don't attack us, because I'm not all there mentally with you guys there. Something may slip," which would actually make him more badass of a character on top of who he is and just what happened to him and his whole storyline. I could see it being like an all-out Azeroth, like heroes and former villains, and like Illidan comes back from the Twisted Nether because he was so much of a demon he basically became one. And then if anyone who knows anything about lore and demons and WoW, is the only way you can kill a demon in World of Warcraft is to kill him in the Twisted Nether. Otherwise, they just return there. They can gain their strength back and come back. Kind of sounds like Diablo and Hell and how that works. And like all that funny stuff. A lot of cross-genre thinking there. Anyways, I digress. So, there really are 2 good expansions left. Emerald Dream can kind of be worked in as a main plot point to either one of those, really.
I don't think the Emerald Dream. I don't think we're gonna see the Emerald Dream.
Well, it'll be a plot point. It won't be its own expansion, and you could even make like a Titans expansion, like the Last of the Titans, we go after, we kind of subdue them. So, and then Sargeras is like, enough, like blow this world up. Like, so I can see like 3 good expansions after this one.
How would you like World of Warcraft to end?
And with Sargeras and everyone dying, and then it just becomes, and then it becomes this trivial Horde versus Alliance thing, which would be a great like moral lesson for everyone who's playing about it. Yeah, we just like saved ourselves from like the galactic destroyers and creators and shepherds of the universe, and we're still quibbling over territory rights.
Yeah.
Like, yep, that kind of sums up how the human race is. Womp womp womp.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So Jimmy.
Yes.
Thoughts, if you have any.
No, I don't care how WoW ends. I mean, yeah.
Azeroth just disappears. Just goes poof.
Bye-bye. No, I don't think WoW's gonna end.
Oh, alrighty. So, I now interrupt this regularly scheduled grindcast for Heroes of the Storm patch notes and technical alpha patch notes. We'll just do a quick little thing for Heroes. Big things I've noticed off the bat. These alpha patch notes just dropped today, September 10th, by the time you read this. A 64-bit client will now be available. So that's big as far as core systems development. Also, the streamer downloader will now have the traditional red, yellow, green as far as playability, downloading. So that's another good step in them getting ready for further advancement. The new hero
stuff.
It does. We'll get to that in a second. The new hero Chen Stormstout, Legendary Brewmaster, was added, so another new hero was introduced, which is always good. Some because they need to fill out that roster a little bit more before it goes live, just so there's a little bit diversity.
Have you looked at the roster lately? It's pretty beefy.
It is. I know it's pretty good, but they need to make sure that the like assassin versus brawler versus specialist, that there's equal amounts of them. So that's why you don't feel like every time there's like a specialist on the free rotation, that's like the only one you play. So the diversity of characters is good within their roles, I guess, as a better way of putting it.
The thing is, though, like, it's pretty easy for them to just like add more characters. Like, they've already done a bunch.
They totally tout that, as well as battlegrounds and tweaks and fixes and new patches. I mean, they do stuff like multiple times a day, let alone a week or a month. I mean, the basically slightly modified StarCraft 2 engine is what they're using, and that makes it a breeze for them to do it.
Yeah. Basically, they just have to get the animation, and then it's like...
Yeah, essentially. Like, model, animation, test it, make sure it works. Boom, new hero. A lot of menu and UI and party panel, a lot of just GUI interface, graphic user interface.
Speaking of which, I picked
Updates.
Heroes of the Storm back up, and they put the chat in the center of the screen, which is like really bothersome for me. Like, I keep wanting to move it to the sides.
Well, that's StarCraft 2-esque. It's esports. It makes it centered, so you're not distracted looking to the left as you die in the center of the screen because you looked away for a half second. Gold mounts were adjusted slightly down for win versus mode, and loss versus went up. So that's how it kind of worked out. They finally added basic support for hotkey modification. Woohoo! You can now customize your hotkeys. Finally. Again, another big thing added to the core of the game. We'll get to what this may all mean. Player levels and rewards were adjusted. Infrastructure, the shop skins and heroes were again adjusted. New heroes, new skins, that always happens. And old skins and everything are adjusted per prices, how they feel per week. A lot of art was updated. Sounds were updated, and then it basically boils down to minor fixes and improvements for battlegrounds, talent adjustments. That's going to be their usual shtick in every patch. I mean, you expect that. And then you get towards the bottom and you see a metric butt ton of bug fixes. Like, it's a rather large list, especially in the heroes and trades category, which is a nice thing. That means that they are taking all that feedback and fixing things. So what I was alluding to with the 64-bit client, the streamer downloader, a lot of graphic user interface updating along with the hotkey customization, I think it's kind of obvious if you kind of put one and one together. We're about less than 2 months from BlizzCon, and all these standard things for Blizzard games that people are used to are finally getting in there, and they're giving themselves, you know, just under 2 months to get to a polished state enough. I'm willing to bet at BlizzCon we're going to see closed beta for Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, with these improvements put in, and then a solid month and a half to make sure it works well, do last minute hero build, hero trait tweaking, and really nail it down. Closed beta, if not an open beta, in November, and then they'll probably leave it in open beta for 3 to 4 months and release it first anywhere in second quarter next year. I could imagine that.
Yep.
Any thoughts, Jamie?
No, I'm just glad that they're working on the game and making it better, and you know, I'll give it a go and I'll get back into it. But right now, it's just I've been too stuck on Diablo, so.
Yeah, it's definitely the same here, and I think all of us, Quad's not here, but I think all of us want to give Heroes another try. I think that's kind of the downfall of alphas and getting in so early, is you make a first impression and then you leave the game for a little bit, or you stick with it too much and you burn yourself out, and then you kind of leave it until it's released, which then you don't know how to play the game, because what you played and versus what you play now when it's at release is like saying you played until the very end of vanilla WoW and then you came back in at like Wrath. Totally different games, totally different systems. New systems are in, old systems are out, and everything else in between was tweaked. So
yeah,
we'll
there's definitely been massive overhauls in Heroes of the Storm since like the alpha was released.
Yeah, I think we all generally want to give Heroes a good shot. That's why we didn't really like give it a yay or nay on whenever we said, is this a game worthwhile? We gave criticisms on whether we thought it could compete with League of Legends, Dota 2.
I gave it a nay. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like the original alpha of the game, but I actually picked it up again. I'm playing it, and there's just so many improvements to the game. It's like, it doesn't even feel like it's the same game anymore. It feels way smoother.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like you can't really, especially alpha. Like this
Right.
really was an alpha. Like Diablo 3, Friends and Family beta. No, that was an alpha. Like they were like half the stuff had like code string names for items, and almost every item had a placeholder. There were some items that would drop you couldn't pick up. It was generally fun and almost humorous at the same time, but that was an alpha. Even though it was labeled a beta.
And they, yeah.
Yeah, so this was truly an alpha in the beginning. I believe in for it, but they have made strides and improvement, and I haven't seen anyone give it more criticism since that point. If anything, people are just getting more hyped. They want this game. So I'll definitely get back into it, probably as the Diablo 3 season gets a little bit closer to its end.
You guys should have seen the line at PAX for Heroes of the Storm, man. It was full. It was always full too. People are hyped for that game.
Yeah, so they're definitely doing well. They're definitely improving, and it's coming through. I mean, hard, honest, good work will always yield a lot of good feedback and hype and potential. I mean, I think that's where we can end it. I mean, they're doing their work, they're doing their thing, and it all works out.
Yeah, I'm impressed, honestly. Like, I didn't have high hopes for the game at the start, but with all the new characters and UI and just hardware updates too, it's just like it's gotten so much better. I actually have hopes for the game now again.
Mm-hmm.
I should say again for the first time.
Yeah. All right, so we covered Diablo, we covered WoW, we covered Heroes with a little update. StarCraft 2. I mean, StarCraft 2 is really kind of, I mean, it does what it does. It chugs along. The 2014 Kepsa Cup is happening December 10th to the 14th. So that's basically now. Oh, no, actually, yeah. That's wrapping up. Probably over by the time this makes it onto the web. The World Championship Series Season 3 subscriber benefits has been updated earlier in the month, a couple of days ago. Again, just more championships, more World Championship Series are happening, getting primed for the big World Championship Series finale at BlizzCon itself. They're doing some PTRs. It may be over because I don't see the news item right off the bat. But testing will, if you may be able to win a BlizzCon ticket. And that's about it. I mean, I really hope with all this secrecy, hopefully we'll get a Legacy of the Void announcement. I mean, like I've said in all the previous Grindcasts, there may not be a lot to talk about, but on a personal level, I want my Protoss to kick ass and take names. So I want this expansion. Blizzard, here's my $50, take it. I will play the single player on the easiest mode, get my story, get the experience, and then I'll be done with it. That sounds tragic and weird, and why you would spend $50, but you know what? For StarCraft, I will do it. Because that's how I got into Blizzard gaming, that I want to end the arc. Damn it. Give me my game. This is why everyone hated them for splitting up the games. Wings of Liberty to basically the second one, Heart of the Swarm, was like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and now we're going to be approaching like year 2, and I think in like March, and that's not when the game's coming out, so it may be like 3 years. So it took them 7 years to get all of StarCraft 2 done. I'm like, damn it, give me my expansion.
Yeah, if there's any year to release an expansion, I think now is the time, because with WoW 1, I honestly doubt that they're going to release a WoW expansion. I'd like, I've been saying that for like every year. I think at BlizzCon, it's like, there's no way they could be working on a WoW expansion. But honestly, truthfully, like the game would still be in beta by the time
it
BlizzCon
would seem
rolls
really
around.
off.
So it would just be super, super weird. So with that, and then like, I want to say that there's a 50-50 chance for a Diablo expansion. Some people are doubting, but I honestly believe it's 50-50 chance for a Diablo expansion. And those are kind of like their giants right now. I mean, obviously StarCraft is pretty huge too, but that's why I feel that, if there's any year for a WoW expansion, now's the time. And then no announcements on Hero of the Storm, so that's still in beta as well. So, I mean, like you said, there might be like a beta announcement, but I don't think that's going to hold enough people's attention. I think they need an expansion, honestly. So,
and more importantly, just to show that they are working on it, because they'll announce it, they'll have a cinematic. Doesn't mean really squat. I mean, they'll just be talking about what their intentions are, maybe some new models for the new units, first reveals, but anything and most likely everything will be updated, changed, tweaked, thrown out, redrawn, done. Do that cycle 20,000 times, and then do it another 100 during the iteration PTR process, beta process, and then you have your game. So it wouldn't really hurt them so much to release announcements to show that they're working on it versus waiting another year or 6 months to make the announcement. It just seems too much. But.
Yeah, I agree. So
lastly, Hearthstone, and this is where I showed up and I let you take the reins.
Okay, so Hearthstone. There's been quite a bit of speculation and tournaments going on. So many tournaments going on lately, specifically for BlizzCon. They're BlizzCon qualifiers, most of these tournaments. So if you come in like first to like 10th place on a lot of these tournaments, you're going to be qualified to participate in the Blizzard tournament, which is the first like global tournament. I think it's a world invitational, so China and they're all going to be there. So a lot of preparation for BlizzCon going around. So you see all these tournaments, and I think the last the last qualifying tournament just is happening this weekend. So you're gonna want to see that if you haven't seen that. So it's gonna, I forget who's hosting it, but it's popular streamers gonna be commentating on that, obviously. There's a lot of speculation going on right now that the Lich King is going to be the next expansion for Hearthstone, and there's a couple of things behind that. There's a card back. That doesn't really mean much. There's a lot of different card backs now in the game, so that doesn't mean much. But there's also frozen mana crystal icons showing up on the forums, and just before PAX, they released a short video of one of the main developers throwing an ice block off a bridge and having it crack open what I believe was a Hearthstone. So I think that pretty much confirmed itself. Like, just that just confirmed that it's going to be Lich King now. It's completely speculation, but like, if I could
interrupt real quick, because that reminds me of? That reminds me of the rather unique one-off YouTube video that Zaria posted when closed beta started. It was ingredients, making cupcakes, and then frosting the cupcakes, and then the cupcakes had the Hearthstone symbol on them with the word beta next to them, and everyone flipped their shit. And then all of a sudden the forums changed over to closed beta forums, and then the invites went out. That I still remember that weekend. It was freaking insane.
Yeah.
It was nuts beyond nuts. I've never seen anything cause that kind of sensation any Blizzard game yet, since then or before then, as far as being a fan site owner.
It was so funny.
3 years.
Blizzard, when they announced Hearthstone, they didn't think it was going to do well because they didn't know what to think. And they're just like, yeah, we got a little project we've been working on, something, a small group of us. And you don't know if you're going to like it or not, but here you go. And then it just boom, it exploded.
Wait, a digital card game? I don't have to worry about value of my card degrading because it has a scratch on it, and I can get more, and there's actually a limit, and there's classes. It's just wow, head explodes. I need it. Blizzard, take my money. Here's $100. Give me more card packs. What, you want another 100 here? Sure, take it.
Shut up and take my money. Just throw it. I don't know. Okay. So a lot of speculation about the next expansion coming out. They did officially announce that the next expansion is not going to be a storyline driven expansion. So there's not going to be an adventure mode for it. It's purely going to be extra cards going into the pool. They said they're looking at 70 new cards added to the card pool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so they're just all right. We
spent a lot of
time developing. Yeah, it's just pure development. Cards just going into the meta. It's gonna be insane. I can't even comprehend how drastically the meta is gonna be shifted these next. Once the expansion releases, because since they're not gonna be staggering them, or if they're gonna stagger them, if they don't stagger them, it's just gonna be super 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 weird because. Nobody knows what's good yet. They don't know the power levels of the cards. So, and they don't know the card synergies yet. So while people are figuring that out, it's going to be really, really weird the first week. You're just going to have these crazy decks that nobody ever thought of, and these weird synergies. But as it starts to fill, it's going to be super crazy, and then it's going to kind of normalize out. That's kind of why I like them when they stagger it, because the meta, it changes a little bit, but just a little bit, right? Just every week it changes a little bit more. It gives you something to kind of look forward to, and I think that's a really good design philosophy just for card games in general. Just they release 4 new cards every week, and that really made the meta kind of fresh without just flooding it with all these crazy cards that nobody knows what they're building. Nobody knows what they're going to fight against, so you don't know how to counter them. That's the main issue with just releasing a bunch of cards like that. It's just nobody knows how to play, so nobody's going to be probably playing like Black Knight. Cards like one of cards that are really powerful against strong decks, like Black Knight. We've got Harrison Jones, just like really powerful cards that people aren't going to play because they're just going to play more generic cards. Like instead of those, they're probably going to play like maybe Sylvanas, Ragnaros, Ysera, instead of the powerful cards that get value because you know what is in the meta.
Well, I don't disagree with your latter point. I, however, do enjoy, pulling from my many years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card play. It was Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic. I happened to pick the more expensive one, and I didn't know until it was way too late, and then I got out. But anyways, I was that person when a new booster came out, like anywhere between 130 to 100 and 100 to 130 cards came out. I was the guy who bought at least a box, if not two. No, give me that new box smell. I say, not the new pack smell, the new box smell.
Yeah.
Rip open those packs, give me the cards, because sometimes in a card game, whether it's physical or in this case Hearthstone being a digital one, sometimes you just need to throw a big stone in the pond and just see what happens. Yeah. Because that may cause more decks to rise without it becoming this situational, I build this deck and then you get the immediate counter and then you get the counter and then so forth.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's just like it just makes the meta really shakes it up. Like people just don't know how to counter them, so they just kind of add more neutral cards that are there. I shouldn't say that. So they add more powerful cards that are good just by itself than synergistic cards against, or counter cards, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Then they just add more powerful cards instead of counter cards.
Which is okay. That is sound logic. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to face. I'm just going to go with the tried and true, being Sylvanas and Ragnaros. But that also makes it interesting because then the new cards are, if someone figures out a new thing that could totally take Ragnaros, hey Rag, you're mine. What? Yes, you're mine. How'd that happen? How come I'm getting hit in the face? He didn't use any traditional mind controls or anything like that. He just has it. How did that happen? And if the traditional card decks fail, like a bulk of them, because the new meta's taking over, it's not just new meta. It's the new cards. It's something bigger than just a meta switch. And then people have to retool their decks, and it would be very interesting if there was multiple styles. Like with Next Promise, it was basically built around Death Rattle. But with this new expansion, we're going to get, or a new adventure, however you want to put it, if there's a theme around, say, Charge, for whatever reason, and there's another one around
if it's
shielding, just pulling two out of thin air, but it makes it different where it uses them in different ways. That's awesome, because now you're looking at old cards and using them in new and unique ways, and you're getting all these new cards, and it gets you excited again, which I guess at the end of the day is all you really want as a player with any game. You just want to be excited for the old as well as bring on the new.
Yeah, well, if it's going to be Wrath of the Lich King related, obviously Freeze has to be a pretty big part of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And probably some Death Rattle, I'd imagine, because there's a lot of undead, so... Which goes perfectly, because that synergizes with the previous expansion cards. So you can almost definitely... if it's going to be Lich King themed, Freeze and Death Rattle are going to be a big part of it. And then, I don't know, maybe some Battle Cry.
Yeah. Or, no, they've already stated they're not messing around with graveyard effects to any great or minor extent. Maybe just one or two knockoffs, but those are usually secrets and stuff.
So that's what's new in Hearthstone. Currently in the meta, right now, we're talking. What's crazy is that just aggro warlocks and hunters are just completely dominating the format. It's absolutely absurd. Just the fact that a hunter can draw 6 cards in just one turn off an Unleash the Hounds and a Buzzard is just it's way too powerful, and they can take out their best minion, their best taunt minion with a 0 drop. It's like literally a joke, and so hunters are just completely dominating. In order to counter that, a lot of people are trying. Ramp Druid is seeing a lot more play, just so they can get, if they only have 2 hunters marked, so if they can just drop, like, if they can get 2 minions out in the battlefield, that can really take care of those. Sledge Belchers are seeing a lot more play to counter hunters, just like, because I was saying earlier, it takes 3 hound minions to kill 1 Sledge Belcher. So Sledge Belcher is seeing a lot of play. Sledge Belcher is seeing a lot of play in a lot of decks, honestly. Lotheb is actually, I haven't seen a lot of people playing Lotheb lately, since Lotheb was like a really good counter to rogue decks. So a lot of combo decks involve spells, so it's not just good against rogue. I think if Frost Mage ends up coming into the meta again, with like fire, with just like spells or either giants, either way, Lotheb is like a total squelcher to those decks. But yeah, look, people were playing Lotheb in aggro decks at the start, but now he's not seeing so much in aggro decks anymore. He's more back to the card that you play to counter Miracle Rogue, essentially. They drop Auctioneer and they do Conceal, then you drop a Lotheb during your turn, and then their next turn, they might be able to get off 1 spell, but that's hell of a lot better than getting off like 20 spells.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, right now it's all about aggro, and people are trying to make these control decks using just tons of taunt, tons of ramp. If you're a druid, you're gonna run Enerbate, Wild Growth, and paladins they're a little bit too slow currently. They don't have enough like big juicy taunt minions. They've got board clear, but the thing is, warlocks can just like their minions survive board clear because they have death rattle minions, and then on top of that, they're dropping 2 minions a turn anyway because of life tap. So it's not, paladins just are not good right now in the meta. And same with priests, they're too slow. They don't have enough big beefy taunt minions to survive the beating that these 2 other decks are doing right now. So, and if they do end up dropping one, it just gets hunters marked, and then they lost all that tempo again. So there's not a whole lot of counters right now to these aggro decks. I see some people playing Control Warrior. Control Warrior actually is a pretty good counter to it, but the thing is with Control Warrior is that they just don't have a lot of card draw, so they end up running out of steam while Warlocks are still dropping 2 minions a turn, and it's just, that's where Warrior is dying right now. But what people aren't playing, which I think they should be playing, is Battle Rage. Battle Rage is the Warrior card, is a 2-drop. It is almost always going to net you 1 card at least. Most likely it's going to net you 2, so you draw a card for each friendly damaged, injured friendly minion. Whew. If it just draws 2 cards, so if you've taken 1 point of damage and you've got 1 minion on the battlefield, it draws 2 cards for 2 mana, which is really powerful. That's already better than the mage card, obviously, and and it's not capped out at 2, right? So you can draw like a ton of cards off this 1 card, and that might put Control Warriors back in the place they need to be to compete with these aggro decks, since they just run out of steam too fast. But so right now it's just Warlocks, Hunters, counter to that, Ramp Druid, and Control Warrior, but you need to build it properly. So that's what their current meta is.
Yeah.
Woo! And nobody's playing Miracle Rogue right now because everybody's playing Lotheb, but people are not playing Lotheb anymore, so Miracle Rogue might be good. Miracle Rogue actually loses to aggro decks too, usually, because Miracle doesn't go off until like turn 7 or 8, maybe even 10. So.
And even that is too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's nothing else, I know we did our BlizzCon predictions a show or 2 ago. I think it was last show. But still in BlizzCon news, the virtual ticket was announced. Of course, you can pre-purchase it through the Battle.net eShop. And it is $39.99. It's basically the same as it has been in previous years that it's been offered. It hasn't gone up in price. I think it was $39.99 last year. You get to watch all the panels. You get to view for up to two weeks after the event happens. It's usually a good thing to get even if you're going to the event. But if you're going to the event, good news, just like last year, you get it as part of your ticket price.
Yeah.
So you can go to BlizzCon, you can make better scheduling of the panels you want to see. And as I was reminded, I guess, in passing by Jen on the Shattered Soulstone, it's actually better if you're into like the voice acting or anything like that where they aren't recorded and televised. It's actually better to go to those so you get the experience, possibly get signatures on posters, and then when you get back to the hotel room or wherever, just pop open your laptop if you can do that, or if the hotel happens to have DirecTV and you can work it all around that way. You can watch it. You can watch what you missed and then catch up there. And the virtual ticket is a necessity for us as far as being a website, because then we can go review all the panels and start directly quoting everything in the review process and start calling them out on stuff that they're already changing like a week later. We're looking at you, ROS, and WoW and Warlords and every game really. I mean, BlizzCon, as great as it is, all the information they released there, you have to take it with a giant grain of salt and hype. That stuff is still going to change unless the game is pretty much coming out. Looking at you, Warlords of Draenor. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be out there. You can buy it. They haven't announced any of the items that are going to come with it, but I can pretty much tell you right now, it's going to be sigils and a new banner icon for Diablo 3. It's going to be another pet for WoW. It's going to be another special card for Hearthstone, or maybe they'll keep it a little bit more simplistic and make it a card back.
So yeah, I a card back.
Yeah, so they don't get as much outrage like, I can never get this card, or I can't get the golden variant of this card for the Ultimate Collectors. I'm like, I see your point, but like, then go. Or pony up to $50 that it would have taken you to get the card anyways. Or enough arcane dust to create the card. Like pick your battles here. Again, community having enough of an analytic, whatever. Dead horse. Yes, moving on. StarCraft 2 will always be portraits, and what? Heroes of the Storm? What could they do for Heroes of the Storm? Give a character out for free? No, that would be too much gold.
Skin?
A skin? Like, perfect! A murky skin. You get a BlizzCon looking murky skin for free. That works out perfectly. There'll be like a skin of murky with like a BlizzCon flag, like they've done for the pet. And it'll just be that.
That would probably work.
And if you pick that skin, you just run out with the BlizzCon flag, like trolling in game. I went to BlizzCon. I'm beating you with a flag. Yes,
well, yeah,
I'm beating you with a flag.
He's got a fish anyway, so it totally makes sense that they just replace the fish with the BlizzCon flag.
Yeah, or he has like a regular hat and it's kind of like a feather, but it's like a little flag coming at the top of the hat, like something
it could
really
be a mount
like
too.
like
it
goofy.
Could be a BlizzCon bear mount.
Oh, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a mount. It won't be anything character based. It'll be a mount. It'll be the polar bear mount. Exactly. Thank you. See, I'd be willing to put down like $5 on your guess that you're right.
I don't think I'm right, but thanks.
That's how right it feels. But yeah, so we'll be there. We'll report back when we can. We'll have definitely the next Grindcast or two after BlizzCon will all be about BlizzCon and news from there. And I think we're getting to the end of this rather long Grindcast. We were passionate about that Diablo 3 going, the 40 minutes in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then
hey, I'm passionate about Hearthstone too, but it's nice because I'm the only one that talks about it, so I could just rant for a while and then, rough it.
Yeah, I kind of rage quit that game right now, so I'm taking a break and doing a Diablo thing, and I'll probably go back to it once the meta changes and it's a little more stable.
Now you should play it when it's really chaotic, like when they release 75 new cards.
I did, and I got my arse handed to me. So, I got down to 16, I did my thing, whatever. That was my goal, to get down to 16 again, and then that was it.
Yeah. All right, so with that, we'll bring the show to a close. But before we do, as always, you can find this and other grindcasts at grindexp.com, along with our other shows, Scythe and Shield, which just had show number 7 with Nivik from the Shattered Soulstone podcast, along with our Hearthstone-specific podcast run by Betta and Quad. And you can find us at Twitter, at grindexp.com, or on Facebook, just search for GrindExp. Same goes for YouTube. And just new to this Grindcast, Jamie, you're killing me.
What?
I hear ya with that little fan noise in the background.
I'm just keeping it going, Here, I'll mute. Hold on, okay.
Just killing the outro. Okay, I feel it. And newly introduced to the ending is you can find this as well as finally all the other shows on iTunes. Just search GrindExp on the podcast tab in iTunes, and you should be able to find all 3 shows very, very easily in the podcast section. And everything is usually up to date. When the YouTube video is put up, I always put up the MP3 so they come out at the same time. And you can enjoy us audibly now, at your own leisure now. So with that, at the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, this is Dread along with Betta and Jamie, JCMonkey.
What's up?
Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.